I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am, spilling it all out because I need some perspective. My name's David, and I was married to Lisa for about 5 years. We seemed like a pretty normal couple on the surface. Good jobs, nice house, some kids on the way. We had our issues, sure, but nothing that seemed insurmountable. At least I thought so. Lately, though, I've been noticing small things that started to feel off. Lisa's been acting weird about her phone, always keeping it close, deleting texts, and sometimes hiding her screen when I come close. She'd say she's working late, which I took at face value at first. She's a career-driven woman, always pushing herself, so I figured she just wanted to get ahead. But then I started catching little inconsistencies. She'd come home after supposed late nights and be a little more tense. She'd snap at me over nothing, avoid certain questions, and once I noticed her phone screen lighting up with messages from someone named Tom. She quickly swiped away and told me it was just a work thing. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was going on behind my back. The worst part, I found this odd-looking hotel keycard slipped into her purse one day when she was rushing out the door. It was subtle, but enough to make me suspicious. Lisa is the kind of woman who can lie with a straight face, so I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Still, I kept it. Something about that tiny card gnawed at me. I mean, she insisted she was working late, but why would she have a hotel keycard in her purse? It didn't make sense. I decided to wait for the right moment. That was a mistake I paid for because the moment I saw her leaving that hotel, a place I knew she and her boss, Greg, had visited once for a supposed team dinner, something inside me broke. I saw her getting into a cab with Greg himself. They looked too comfortable, too intimate for just colleagues. I was stunned. My stomach clenched. I felt this mix of anger, betrayal, and confusion all at once. The next day, I confronted her. I couldn't keep pretending I didn't see what I saw. I asked her outright about the hotel keycard and her secret trips. Her reaction, she lost her temper, insisted she was just working late, that I was paranoid, and that I was crazy for even thinking she'd cheat on me. She called me possessive, clingy, and said I had no right to accuse her without proof. But that card and her connection with Greg, that was proof enough for me. When I brought up the hotel and the keycard, her eyes flashed with anger. She sneered and told me I was overreacting, that I was insecure, that Greg was just a friend she was helping out with some work thing. She looked me dead in the eyes and lied, plain and simple. Said she was tired of my accusations, that I didn't trust her. But I saw her sweat, saw her stiffen, and knew she was lying. I wasn't stupid. That night I was left with this sinking feeling. It hit me hard. This wasn't just a fling. This was something serious. That hotel card wasn't just a slip-up. It was a sign she'd been sneaking around behind my back for a while. I felt numb, honestly. Betrayal doesn't even cover it. It's like my whole world just shifted. I couldn't get the image of her with Greg out of my head, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized I was probably last to know. Since then, I've been spiraling, trying to process what I saw, what she said, what I feel. I'm angry, hurt, and stupid for not noticing sooner. But part of me also feels a strange sense of relief. It's like I finally see her for who she really is. Someone I thought I knew turned out to be someone else entirely. I don't know what's next, but I do know this. I don't think I can trust her anymore. Not after all this. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with Greg, laughing, touching, being intimate in ways that made my stomach turn. The worst part, I realized I'd been blind for months. All those nights she insisted she was working late, she was really with him. I kept telling myself I was overreacting, that maybe she was just stressed, but deep down I knew the truth. She'd been lying to my face all this time. I started digging. I know, bad move, but I needed to know exactly how deep this went. I went through her phone, her emails, her social media. I found messages, damn, there were dozens, flirty, suggestive, outright explicit at times. She talked about the chemistry she felt with Greg, how he understood her, how they could be themselves when they were alone. It made me sick. I read things I can't even repeat here. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. My wife, the woman I loved, was sneaking around, cheating, lying. And she did it so convincingly I almost started to question myself. Was I just paranoid? I needed more proof. So I hired a private investigator. I didn't want to do it, but I was desperate. I knew if I caught her in the act, I'd have my answer for good. A week later, he came back with the footage. There she was, coming out of that hotel again, holding hands with Greg. They looked like a couple, not just colleagues. My stomach twisted. I felt like I was about to drown in a sea of betrayal. Seeing her like that, so carefree, so shameless, made me realize I was living with a different person than the one I married. The day I saw her again, I decided enough was enough. I needed to confront her, not just with evidence, but with everything I'd been holding in. I waited for her to get home from her work trip, which I now knew was just a cover story. When she stepped inside, I was already waiting in the living room. I didn't even bother to hide my anger. I told her I knew everything: the hotel, Greg, the messages. Her face blanked out for a second, then she snapped. "You're crazy, David. You're always accusing me of stuff I didn't do. You're just jealous because I work hard and I'm successful. Greg's just a friend, okay? We talk about work, that's all. You're overreacting as usual." Her tone was bitter, defensive, like I was the one in the wrong. That's when I saw it. Her eyes darted, her hands trembling slightly. I knew she was lying. The evidence was right there, and I had the proof she couldn't deny anymore. I asked her why she did it. Why Greg? Why hide everything? Her answer: she said I was boring, that I did satisfy her anymore, that she needed excitement, that I was just too predictable and dull. She called me controlling, insecure, that I was the reason she felt trapped. Honestly, I was hurt, but mostly furious. How could she say that, after all those years? I felt like I was hit by a truck. She kept up her act, trying to gaslight me, saying I was imagining things, that I was making it all up in my head. But I was. I had the evidence, I had her messages, her hotel key card. She looked me in the eyes and lied to my face. That's when I realized I was standing there with a woman who didn't love me anymore, if she ever did. She was just using me as a paycheck, a house, a cover-up for her real life with Greg. That moment I felt my world shatter. I was numb but also boiling with rage. I wanted to scream, to yell, to destroy every single thing that reminded me of her. But instead, I just told her to leave. She stormed out, cursing me, calling me stupid, saying she'd never loved me that much anyway. Watching her walk out that door, I felt a strange mixture of relief and devastation. I finally saw her true face. It was almost like mourning a death, losing someone I thought I knew but never really did. The woman I married was a lie, and now I had to figure out what comes next. After she left, I was alone in that apartment, just standing there, feeling like I'd been hit by a freight train. My mind was racing, trying to process everything. I felt betrayed, humiliated, furious, all at once. For years, I thought we had a decent life. I thought I knew her, but the truth, I was blind. She was cheating on me with her boss, Greg, and lying straight to my face the whole time. That hotel key card, it wasn't just a mistake or some slip-up. It was her secret badge, her badge of dishonor. I couldn't believe I had been so stupid to miss all the signs earlier. For the next few days, I did a lot of thinking. I kept replaying everything: the lies, the sneers, the way she avoided my questions, the way she'd snap at me for no reason, like I was bothering her. I also felt this deep, gnawing sadness. I loved her once. I wanted to believe she was the woman I married, but now I knew better. She had been lying to me for months, maybe longer. My trust was shattered. I kept looking at the evidence I had collected: her texts, the hotel footage, the secret keycard, and I realized I couldn't just sweep it under the rug. Not anymore. I started planning my next steps. I couldn't just let her get away with it. I wanted revenge, not just to hurt her, but to make sure she understood that I wasn't some fool she could use and discard. I decided to take control of the situation. First, I contacted a divorce lawyer. I wanted out clean and clear. But I also wanted to send a message that I was done being played for a fool. I wanted her to feel the pain of her betrayal, the way I was feeling now. That's when I decided I'd do something that would make her regret ever crossing me. I'm not the kind of guy to go out looking for revenge, but I felt like I had no choice. I found out about Greg's apartment where he lived alone. I didn't want to do anything crazy, but I wanted her to see that I knew everything, that I wasn't going to be some pushover. So I went there and installed a little GPS tracker on her phone just to keep tabs on her movements. I also started gathering their phone calls and texts, saving everything. I wanted to have proof, solid, indisputable proof, if she ever tried to deny it again. I knew this was petty, but honestly, I was beyond caring about being nice anymore. I wanted her to hurt like I was hurting. One night, I decided to confront her again in a way she wouldn't expect. I set up a hidden camera in my house that would record her when she came home. I told her I wanted to talk, that I needed to hear the truth, and that I wasn't going to take her lying anymore. She came in, trying her usual act, acting like she was the innocent victim. But I pressed record. When she saw the camera, her face froze for a second, then her composure cracked. Her voice trembled as she tried to deny everything, but I already had all the evidence. The texts, the hotel footage, the hotel keycard, and now her own reactions on camera. That moment was a turning point for me. I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and disgust. I had caught her finally. She was exposed, and I was done pretending I didn't see the truth. I felt like I'd been punched again, this time in the gut for trusting her, for loving her. I realized I'd been a fool to believe her lies, to give her the benefit of the doubt. But somehow, this clarity also made me feel stronger. I knew what I had to do next. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me anymore. I was going to end this once and for all. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy weight on my chest. The adrenaline from confronting her the night before hadn't worn off. Instead, it was replaced by a cold, hard resolve. I looked at the footage I had recorded, her lying, sneering at me, trying to deny everything even when I had undeniable proof. It was disgusting. I felt like I had been played for a fool for so long. But now I knew the truth, and there was no way I could go back to pretending everything was fine. I made the decision to tell her she had to leave, not just for now, but permanently. I couldn't keep living with someone who lied, cheated, and completely disrespected our marriage. I called my lawyer, and in the meantime, I started packing some of my things. I wasn't planning to go far, just enough to get some space, clear my head, and figure out what I really wanted. But I knew one thing: I wasn't staying in that house with her anymore. The thought of her coming back, trying to smooth things over or deny everything again, made me sick. I needed her gone. When she arrived later that day, I was already waiting. I told her it was over, that I knew everything. I played her the footage I'd recorded, the texts, the hotel keycard. Her face turned pale, then red with rage. She called me names: crazy, jealous, controlling, and told me I was overreacting. But I didn't care anymore. I was done with her bullshit. I told her she had to leave, that she was no longer welcome in my house. She argued, said she loved me, that she'd never do it again. But I saw through her lies, her tears, her fake remorse. I wasn't buying it. She finally stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I sat there, feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. Part of me wanted to break down, but I held it together. I knew I had made the right choice, even if it hurt like hell. I never imagined I'd get to this point, but here I was, betrayed, angry, and finally free. I contacted the lawyer, started the divorce process, and told my friends what happened. The support was overwhelming, and honestly, it helped more than I expected. In the days that followed, I started reflecting on everything. I kept replaying the moments when I was blind, ignoring the signs, giving her the benefit of the doubt, thinking about how I'd let her manipulate me for so long. It's humbling, but also a lesson. Never ignore your gut. Never dismiss the small signs of cheating or deceit. Trust is everything, and once it's broken, you can't just glue it back together. I also learned that revenge, in this case, wasn't about hurting her physically or doing something reckless. It was about reclaiming myself, my dignity, and my peace of mind. I wanted her to see that her lies had consequences, that she couldn't just cheat and get away with it. I wanted her to feel the pain she caused, even if just a little. So I kept the evidence, I kept it all stored safely, and I told myself that someday, if she tried to come back, I'd be ready. Right now, I'm focusing on rebuilding. It's hard, and I still feel the sting of betrayal every day. But I know one thing: I won't ever let someone lie to me like that again. I'll be smarter, more cautious, and I'll never be blind to the signs of a cheating wife again. If there's one thing I want to tell anyone reading this, it's this: trust your instincts, pay attention to the small signs, and don't be afraid to walk away if you find out someone been lying and cheating. You deserve better than that. It's been a few weeks since she left, and honestly, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. The house feels emptier than ever, and the silence is deafening. Every corner, every piece of furniture seems to remind me of her. Her lies, her betrayal. All the times I look the other way. I won't lie, it hurts like hell. I keep asking myself how I missed the signs for so long, how I didn't see that the woman I loved was actually just pretending for her own selfish reasons. But I also feel a strange sense of relief. For the first time in a long while, I'm not constantly looking over my shoulder, wondering if she's hiding something. That burden of suspicion is finally gone, and I can breathe easier, even if it's just a little. I've been talking to friends and a counselor, trying to make sense of what happened and how I move forward from here. It's tough, but I know I have to keep going, one step at a time. The thing that's been bothering me most lately is the question of trust. Can I ever trust anyone again? I used to believe in forever, in loyalty, in honesty. Now I'm not so sure. I keep thinking about how she lied so convincingly, how she played me for months. It's like I was living with a stranger all along. And the worst part, I still love her. Part of me wishes I could turn back time and fix everything, make her see how much I cared. But I know that's not possible anymore. The damage is done. I've decided I need to focus on myself now. I've been hitting the gym, trying to rebuild my confidence. I've also started working on my career more seriously, something I'd neglected while being caught up in the chaos of our life together. I want to prove to myself that I can be better, stronger, more resilient. I've learned that betrayal doesn't define me. What I do next, how I choose to heal and move on, is what matters. Every day I get a little better. I stop obsessing over what she did and I start thinking about what I want for my future. I want happiness again, but I know it won't come overnight. Trusting again is going to be hard, but I have to try. Maybe someday I'll meet someone who's honest and worthy of my trust. Maybe I'll find someone who doesn't lie or cheat behind my back. But for now, I need to focus on rebuilding my life. I owe myself that much. Looking back, I realize that this experience, as painful as it was, taught me something valuable. I learned to listen to my gut, to pay attention to the little signs, and to never ignore my instincts. I also learned that forgiveness isn't for her, it's for me. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what she did, but rather letting go of the anger and resentment that only hurt me. I want peace. I want a better life, free from lies and betrayal. So I'm here, sharing my story because maybe someone else out there needs to know they're not alone. Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't have to define you. You can come out the other side stronger, more aware, more cautious. Trust is fragile, but it can be rebuilt. And sometimes walking away is the best thing you can do for yourself. I'm still healing, still hurting, but I believe I'll be okay. One day at a time. Now, as I sit here reflecting on everything, I realize how much I've grown through this chaos. It's funny, no, not funny, more like tragic, and yet somehow I feel a sense of clarity I never had before. That betrayal shattered my world, but it also forced me to reevaluate what's truly important. I learned that the people we trust the most can sometimes be the ones who hurt us the most. But I also learned that I am stronger than I believed, and I don't need her, her lies, her manipulations to define who I am. I've come to accept that some things are beyond repair, and that's okay. Not everything is meant to be fixed. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away, pick up the pieces, and start over. I've done that. I've taken control of my life again, piece by piece. I no longer feel trapped by the past. Instead, I see it as a lesson, something that has made me more cautious, more aware, and more determined to protect my own happiness. Most importantly, I want to remind anyone reading this, especially those who might be going through something similar, that you are not alone. Betrayal is one of the worst pains you can experience, but it's also an opportunity for growth. Trust your instincts. Don't ignore the small signs. And if you find yourself in a situation where someone's lying and cheating, don't be afraid to walk away, no matter how much it hurts. You deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect, things she couldn't give me, but I've learned to give myself. Today, I'm focusing on healing. I'm reconnecting with friends, rediscovering what makes me happy, and trying to rebuild my confidence. It's a long road, but I believe I'll get there. I know that someday I will look back at this chapter of my life and see it as the catalyst that finally pushed me to live for myself. I hope my story serves as a warning but also as a source of hope, that no matter how deep the betrayal, you can survive it. You can come out stronger, wiser, and ready to embrace a future that's truly yours.